The Johto games are notorious for being ridiculously balanced. According to Cerebi, the 7th Gym Leader Price's highest level Pokemon is level 34, while the 6th Gym Leader Jasmine's highest level Pokemon is 35, which messes up the order. So as an additional rule, I cannot bring a Pokemon higher level than the Gym Leader's highest level Pokemon. If one of my Pokemon become level 5 during Jasmine, then I cannot bring it to Price. Other than that, normal hardcore Nuzlocke rules apply, and with that, let's begin. I name myself random, and as with other Nuzlockes, the most important choice is the starter Pokemon. Johto is probably the most straightforward to pick from because Chikorita is trash, and there is a guaranteed overpowered water type later on. So I picked Cyndaquil and named it Fireman. I met up with Professor Oak, and after he gave me the Pokédex, Professor Elm immediately called for our help because a particular Silver stole a Totodile. While getting back to the lab, we came across Silver and beat his Totodile with a couple layers and tackles. He also conveniently drops his name card, which is funny. We returned to the lab and we renamed Silver into non-sub because if you're not subscribed, you are the enemy. At Route 29, our encounter was a Sentret, while our Route 46 encounter was a Spearow. We caught Pidgey at Route 30 and a Geodude at Dark Cave. At Route 31, I caught a Bellsprout as we finally make our way into Violet City. Before taking on the gym, we visited the Sprout Tower and got Rattata, which I was really excited about because this thing could have the ability Guts. Thankfully it did. I battled the Sprout Tower Elder, after which Cyndaquil evolved into Quilava. This was a big mistake. The level cap for Faulkner's gym was level 13, but Quilava was now level 14. I benched it and leveled up Geodude to the level cap. I challenged Faulkner and didn't even break a sweat because super effective Rock Throw combined with the fact that Geodude resists the flying moves meant an easy victory. The Zephyr badge has been claimed. I head to Route 32 where my encounter was a Mareep, which I named Wooly. My Union Cave encounter was a Sandshrew, which I named Digger, as we finally entered Azalea City. We speak to the Apricot guy and find out that Team Rocket has been indulging in criminal activity in the Slowpoke Well. I head to the Slowpoke Well where I got Zubat as my encounter, naming it Batman. I then challenged Team Rocket admin Proton, which was an easy fight as Quilava completed the sweep. We are thanked by the Apricot guy as we go challenge Bugsy in the Azalea gym. This was a pretty easy fight as Geodude pretty much swept the entire battle. We initiate the gym fight with Bugsy as he leads with Scyther while I lead with my Geodude. He focus energies up but is pretty useless because we finish him off with a Rock Throw. The Geodude then gains a level to learn Self-Destruct, but I deny it because Self-Destruct is a pretty useless move in Nuzlocke. Metapod is then taken down while Kakuna poisons us but is taken down anyway as Bugsy is defeated, getting the Hive Badge. The Hive Badge has now been acquired. I put Batman the Zubat in the team, and after a bit of grinding, Mareep evolved into a Flaffy. Silver challenged us to a Pokemon battle as he led with Ghastly. Flaffy took down the Ghastly while Rattata took down both the Croconaw and the Zubat. Our Ilex Forest encounter was a Metapod, which I named James because James hardened, because Metapod has hardened. I also caught a Drowsy and named it Michael.
You do sleep with Drowsy often.
The original one says buy it. It's less weird.
Are you sure about that?
We got acquainted with Lyra's grandparents as we make our way to Goldenrod City. I gave my Zubat a haircut to increase its friendship and also got the radio card to get Whitney back in her gym. After beating the gym trainers, I challenged Whitney to a battle. I led with Batman the Zubat while she led with her metronome using Clefairy. The combination of wing attacks from my Zubat and some attacks from my Quilava forced the Clefairy to switch into the Miltank, the infamous Miltank which everybody hates. I paralyzed it using Flaffy as I switched into my Bellsprout. Bellsprout did some okay damage before dying to Miltank, so rest in peace, my first death. I switched into Geodude and it just magnitude away at the Miltank until it went down and slowed the Clefairy, getting us our third gym badge of the run. The plain badge has been acquired. I caught a Nidoran male from one of the routes up north and named it Kingpin. I caught a Sunkern at the national park, naming it Plant, and I also caught a Intimidate Growlithe, which I named Bubba, which was pretty cool. I got the Squirt Bottle at Goldenrod City and dispatched off the Sudowoodo. The route before Ecruteak City, I encountered a Stantler which I caught and named Deer. It had Intimidate, which is pretty cool. I then visited the Button Tower where I met Eugene and met Morty. I also met Silver there and battled and then beat him. We trigger the cutscene of the legendary beast and talk to Eugene once again. Our burn tower encounter ends up being a Magmar, which I named Spitter because it spits fire. I entered the gym, and while battling this gym trainer, I got super careless and lost Excavator the Geodude thanks to a mean look plus curse strategy, so that was pretty unfortunate. May you rest in peace, Excavator. Rattata also evolved into Raticate at this point, so that was pretty cool as well. I finally reached Morty, and quite frankly this was the easiest fight so far. He leads with his Ghastly while I led with my Raticate. My Raticate knows Crunch, so I outsped, took down the Ghastly. Next comes the Haunter, which I did the same as I did the Ghastly. The Gengar comes out, and one Crunch critical hit takes down the Gengar as well. As the final Haunter comes in, I just crunch it off, defeating Morty and getting my Raticate sweep. So that was pretty funny, not going to lie. With that, we acquire the Fog Badge. The route west of Ecruteak, we encounter a Magnemite, which I catch and name Allseer. We reach Olivine City, and I talk to Silver. He tells us to go visit the lighthouse. As he walks away, at Route 39, I encounter a Farfetch, and I thought Cut wouldn't kill it, but it indeed kills it, so that's my Route 39 encounter dead. We go back to Ecruteak City, where we have to save this Kimono Girl from this Rocket Grunt. After we do so, the Kimono Girl thanks us, and we get the Surf HM from the gentleman down below with the Psyduck. East of Ecruteak City, there is a place called Mount Mortar, and in that cave we get Machop as our encounter, and I named it Body Breaker.
The Body Breaker, Idris Virgo!
I do some backtracking and head back to Goldenrod City to get the Eevee from Bill, and I go all the way back to Route 32 for the Pokemon Center so I can get the Olrod. I come back to the route east of Ecruteak City and do some fishing where I get Goldeen as my encounter, which I name Horner. I head south of Olivine City to Route 40 where I get Tentacool as my encounter, which I name Tentacles. At Route 41, I get Mantine as my encounter, which I name Kite. And finally make my way to Cianwood City. While training my team to get to the level cap, my Zubat evolved into a Golbat, my Flaffy evolved into an Ampharos, and my Machop evolved into a Machoke. After defeating all the gym trainers and getting Chuck to notice us, we initiate the battle with gym leader Chuck. He leads with a Primate while I lead with my Golbat. I go for a wing attack as he goes for a Leer, getting him down to half HP. He hyper potions back up, but I wing attack again as he goes for double team. Wing attack still connects and Primate goes down. Next up is the Poliwrath, and I go for wing attack yet again, getting it down to red HP, but its Citrus Berry gets it back to yellow. He body slams us in return. Another wing attack takes down the Poliwrath, getting us the Storm Badge. With that, the Storm Badge is acquired. Upon exiting the gym, we get the HM for Fly, which we teach to Batman the Golbat. We go back to Olivine City and visit the lighthouse where we find out that the Ampharos there is sick and Jasmine, the gym leader, is tending to it. As always in the JoJo games, we have to go back to Cianwood City to the medicine store to get the secret potion, then bring it back to the Ampharos for it to heal. We get sidetracked a little bit as we stumble upon the Suicune. It runs away as Eugene quickly rushes in. He challenges us to a battle to prove himself worthy to Suicune, but we easily dispatch of him. We then go back to Olivine City to give the secret potion to the Ampharos to get it better, and then Jasmine returns to her gym. While doing some training, Batman the Golbat reaches high enough friendship so that it evolves into a Crobat. Jasmine's highest level Pokemon is actually level 35, but I only leveled up my team to level 32 because I didn't want my Pokemon to over level for price. We initiate the gym battle as she leads with Magnemite while I lead with my Machoke. I go for a submission, taking the Magnemite down. As the second Magnemite comes out, I get paralyzed, but I revenge kill it. And last but not least, the Steelix comes out. I go for revenge, doing just about a quarter damage. To get rid of the Screech effect, I switch into my Goldeen to take a hit and sacrifice it in the process. I go for revenge, bringing it down to half HP, but Citrus Berry's up. Go for 2 more revenges, and Steelix finally goes down, giving us our 6th gym badge. With that, the mineral badge has been acquired. After the gym battle, I get more encounters to catch, such as this Kingler from Cliff's Cave, the Tauros from Route 48, the Ekans from the Safari Zone, and the Staryu from Route 47. While heading to Mahogany City, we stumble upon a Suicune and we stumble upon Eugene as well. We finally make it to Mahogany City and we straight away head to the Lake of Rage. I put on a repel so as to avoid any other encounters, as I want the Shiny Gyarados to be my encounter for the Lake of Rage. We ended up catching the shiny Gyarados and naming it Cardinal. After that, we met up with Lance and he tells us to pull up to the medicine shop. We caught a Girafarig on the way as we made our way to the medicine shop in Mahogany City to find out it was actually a Team Rocket hideout. We follow Lance around the Team Rocket hideout and we also met Silver at one point. We battled Petrel and defeated him and battled Ariana and a Team Rocket run to a double battle which we won. We fixed the radio signal issue with Lance by fainting the electrodes. After that we have to prepare for our next gym fight. While preparing for the gym fight I accidentally overleveled my Gyarados into level 35 so I can no longer use it, which is unfortunate because Gyarados is really good for the Piloswine. We initiate the gym fight as he leads with Steel while I lead with my Ampharos. I discharge to take it down. He switches into his Piloswine while I switch into my Crobat to absorb the Mud Bomb. I switch back into my Kulava to do some Flame Wheel damage. At 4 HP I decide to switch into my Machoke to tank the Ice Fang. I get Blizzard, get Frozen, thaw out and immediately go for the revenge to beat the Piloswine. Out comes Dugong as I switch into my Eradicate. It goes for an Ice Shard. I go for a Hyper Fang doing decent enough damage. Another Hyper Fang brings it to yellow as it rests. It sleep talks, Ice Shard, and I'm in the red now. I should have switched, but I didn't. And ultimately, Eradicate goes down. I finally switch into my Ampharos, go for the discharge, and Dugong goes down, getting us the 7th gym badge. With that, the Glacier badge has been acquired. It's time for the second Team Rocket hideout raid as we try to sneak past the Team Rocket run, but Silver stops us. We defeat Petrel and Silver as Kulava evolves into a Typhlosion. We save the radio tower director as we get given the card key. We take down Proton and Ariana in quick succession, and now it's time to prepare for Archer. Archer leads with his Houndour while I lead with my Ampharos. I go for Discharge while he goes for Fire Pang. Almost take it out, but he lives with literally 1 HP I think. But take it down nonetheless. He switches out into his Houndoom, which is his ace. I switch into my shiny Gyarados, get the Intimidate off so that his physical attacks won't do that much. Aqua Tail and Houndoom goes down. His last Pokemon is a Coughing, and a couple Aqua Tails later the Coughing goes down as well as we defeat Archer. We get given the Rainbow Wing by the Radio Tower Director as we set our sights on Blackthorn City. The route east of Mahogany City, we get a Poliwag. On Ice Path, we get a Swinub, and the route south of Blackthorn City, we got a Gligar. While battling the gym trainers, our Machoke evolved into a Machamp as we set our sights on Claire. We initiate the Claire fight as she leads with her Gyarados while I lead with my Ampharos. A quick discharge later and Gyarados goes down. I do a little bit of damage onto the Dragonair, but I switch into my own Gyarados to Ice Fang it down. 2 more Ice Fangs on the second Dragonair ensures it goes down as he switches into our last Pokemon Kingdra. I switch into my Machamp to go for a Cross Chop, doing minimal damage, but I decide to stay in, live on 7 HP to land my own Cross Chop. I switch into my Crobat as it heals up. I go for the Poison Fang, hoping for a Poison, which I do get. I go for the Fly and finally take it down thanks to Fly damage and Poison damage. And with that, the Rising badge would have been claimed, but Claire decides to be a child about it. So we have to go into the Dragon's Den where we get Dratini as our encounter. We take the test and unsurprisingly pass as we finally get the Rising badge. And with that, the Rising badge has been acquired. Lyra congratulates us on our 8 badges, and Professor Elm gives us the Master Ball and redirects us to the Aquatic Dance Theater. We meet Silver there and he tells us he's lost to the 5 Kimono Girls, and now it's our turn to take on the 5 Kimono Girls. It was going really smoothly, having taken down 4 of the 5 Kimono Girls. Unfortunately, the 5th one proved to be very difficult because of the damage we took from the previous 4. I could not make a safe switch in and I had to sacrifice Crobat because of it. After beating the Kimono Girl and getting the clear bell, it was time to do some serious damage control. I added a Dratini which I caught from the Dragon's Den into the team and evolved it into a Dragonair. I set my clock to nighttime to force a Ghastly encounter and then caught it. I watched the Ho-Oh cutscenes and eventually Master Balled it, and in case you're wondering, no, I will not be using the Ho-Oh. I entered the Victory Road, beat Silver, evolved my Ghastly into a Haunter, then Gengar, then went on to challenge the Elite Four. Will was the easiest Elite Four member as my Gengar outsped all of his Pokemon and Shadow Ball to one-hit KO them. The Koga fight was similarly easy as well as Typhlosion one-hit KO the Ariados and Ferretris. Muk was a little bit more bulky, but 3 more flamethrowers later and Muk went down. Crobat was also quite bulky, having survived 2 flamethrowers, but the 3rd one made sure it fainted. His last Pokemon was a Venomoth and another flamethrower made sure it went down. So far, shaping up to be an easy Elite 4, Bruno was no different as I set up 3 Dragon Dances on the Hitmontop and then sweep this entire team. The Karen fight proved to be a little bit more tricky as she led with her Umbreon while I led with my Machamp. Machamp KO'd the Umbreon and Murkrow as she switched into a Gengar. I switched into my own Gengar to absorb a Focus Blast and then outspeed the Shadow Ball the Gengar, taking it down. She switched into her Houndoom while I switched into my Gyarados. Gyarados quickly took it down and her last Pokemon was Vileplume. Typhlosion came in and finished up the job, and with that the last Elite 4 member was taken down. Last but not least was the Lance fight, and this was the most difficult battle of them all. Just kidding, my Gyarados set up 4 Dragon Dances and swept this entire team. That was pretty easy. With that, Lance has been defeated, but since this is a Johto game, this is only just the beginning. Before heading to Kanto, we evolved our Dragonair into a Dragonite. We then headed to Kanto by boat and arrived at Vermilion City. We battled Surge, Sabrina, Misty, Erica, Janine, Brock, Blaine, and Blue, and we headed to Mount Silver. Our second last encounter of the run was a Donphan, and before we could get our last encounter at Mount Silver, we got a Golbat to remind us of our dead and fallen Crobat. Rest in peace. Unfortunately, the 5th one proved to be very difficult because of the damage we took from the previous 4. I could not make a safe switch in,
and I had to sacrifice Crobat because of it.
Our last encounter ever was an Onix, and I named it in honor of the rock hard Brock. And with that, it was finally time to battle Trainer Red. He leads with his Pikachu while I lead with my Machamp. Expert Belt boosted Earthquake takes down the Pikachu as he switches into his Charizard. I switch into my shiny Gyarados to Dragon Dance Waterfall the Charizard. I do the same but for Venusaur using Ice Fang, but it doesn't KO and Slash Bomb takes us out. I switched into my Dragonite to set up 2 Dragon Dances and take out the Venusaur and Lapras with Outrage, but ultimately Dragonite had to make the ultimate sacrifice and died due to poison and hail damage. Red Snorlax was so formidable that it took down my Typhlosion. Ampharos is then able to come in to take down the Snorlax, and after a bit of stalling takes down the Blastoise as well, and with that we defeated Pokemon Trainer Red. Only Gengar and Ampharos were able to survive, but those 2 signify the sacrifices that the rest of the Pokemon made for us to complete the Pokemon Heart Gold Hardcore Nuzlocke.